Alright, a little bit of impact. I'm going to make this clear. This might not be a very long video because there really is not much here. There just isn't. We got a feel-good moment and we got a little bit more content on the structure of how the Director of Authority and his partner in crime, Deirdre Ray, is going to be interacting, but generally speaking, nothing has changed. We don't really have new content. We just have a little bit of extra and a little bit of a feel-good moment. That's what we really got in this show. And I'm going to tell you this right now. If you want to watch the show, you can. Will you really be invested in the show? The one match on the show that was really good, I will talk about, and that was the opening match. But I'm going to tell you this, for the rest of the show, because you only got 3 matches, really, this is all you got. This is all you got. You didn't really get anything substantial that's leading into No Surrender. We just don't got it. Okay. First match, which is the best match of the night to me personally. Not that the other matches were bad. I want to make this clear. The other 2 matches were not bad. This was just a superior match. And that is Nick Nimitz versus a Rich Swann. And I'm going to say this. I don't think those two have ever generally interacted with each other. I mean, if they've had a match or 2, that's one thing. Back in WWE. But on TNA TV, no. They have not. This is the first time I think they really had real interaction between each other. Other than maybe a couple of times in WWE, maybe on the Indies. They had a couple of times before Rich went to rehab, of course. But I think this is really the first time that either one of them was really able to do what they really wanted to do. Because they let them do what they wanted. This was a very good match between Rich and between a Nick. I mean, for me personally, I wouldn't mind seeing it again. Because they are very good wrestlers. And I gotta say this about Rich Swann. And I agree with Rinwald. I agree with Matthew. This man got himself in the best shape of his life. Because if you remember how Rich was, he had a pot belly. He was still able to wrestle, but you could tell he was just not always there. He seemed to be off. So for me personally, seeing him as he is, I am thankful that he straightened himself out. And I truly hope, and I want to say this clearly, I truly hope this time it sticks. Now, this is not meant to bring him down. If you ever saw this is not meant to bring him down. This is not meant to mess with him and say, oh, you're just a drunk and stuff. No. I grew up in a house with alcoholism. I was incredibly lucky that I never caught the bug. I never caught drinking. I think I'm that adverse person that either you go straight for drinking because you grew up in it, or you can't stand it and you go completely away from it. And that is me. I don't drink. Legitimately. The most I've ever drank in my life is maybe 27 times. And I had to be forced into it. Or I had to try and make other people happy. It was not meant to make me happy. I didn't care. For me, seeing that Rich has straightened himself out. And I think I said this in a couple of videos. Seeing that he straightened himself out. And this time, because this is the first time he had trouble with the law and drinking. That I'm hoping with Sue Young and their child. I think they had 1 child only. I don't think they got 2, but I think they got 1. Straightened out. It makes me so happy to see him clean. And he's doing well. And I really want him to succeed. But I thought it would be important to say it. Because a lot of wrestlers don't always get out of that type of situation cleanly. Rich, of course, got himself in trouble. And he went to rehab and cleaned himself up. Look at Moxley from AEW. He wasn't in any trouble. He just didn't want to do it anymore. He didn't want to be drinking anymore. That's the reason why he changed this entire structure of his life. He went into rehab voluntarily before anything bad happened. He was able to function. But essentially, he was just done with that. So, when you watch the match, and out of the entire show, that match shows you how good Rich can be. Because both of them did great work. I'm glad to see them both on the same company in the same roster. I want to see another match. But the thing here is, there's no real story behind them. Look, When it comes to Nick, he's got his story because of his Call Your Shot Gauntlet match cup, and he's going to go after Nick. That's obvious. He's going to get his shot at it. But I really want him to have a story with Rich, and they don't have it. So we got a taste of what a match would be if there was a real story behind it. So if you watch this, you'll like it. Next match. Gotta say it. Steel cage match. It was the weakest match of the entire card. There was only 3 matches, but this is the weakest. Now, it's not meant, and I want to get this clear. I'm not against Mara, and I'm not against Ryan. Street fights are notoriously weak matches in some cases if the story is not that great. Now, the story between the two is not bad. It's not. And the key I want to make very, very, real pungent here, real strong, is that the story itself is not bad because they can still go from this. Because look what Matthew is still talking about. He's still saying that these two got to be in love with each other because they keep fighting one another. It's got to be something. And that could actually be something. They could actually go there. Now, I don't know in real life if these two are actually dating. I don't know. You guys can tell me it below. I haven't checked, and I don't know. As far as I know, they're not dating one another. But the thing here is, if they're going to do something with this, you could have Ryan, Nick, and Mara eventually work together. Because Mara was messed with before, and Ryan has messed with her. Nick had messed with her. But if you want to flip the script and make a story where these 3 actually start working together, it would work. Because you got the Hardys, who is working with Lita. Because, let's make it clear, Mara is a Lita archetype. That is what she is. She was inspired by Lita. She was inspired by her. She loved Lita. And in my humble opinion, if she's not working with the Hardys, she should work with another brother team. Let her work with the Nemesis. But you gotta make sure the story makes some sense. So what do we got here? We've been seeing Mara fighting with Ryan, and she could actually make it work with them. That's what I think this might come down to. I'm probably wrong, but if they are structuring this where she will eventually join them because she will eventually get sick of fighting with Ryan and just want to hunk, or his brother. My big brother has got it bigger than me because I'm here and my brother's here. But either way, either she goes with Nick or she goes with Ryan. My feeling is she will go with Nick. But not the way you think. Nick is going to help her, but Ryan will be the one she's going to want. Because I do believe sooner or later, these 3 will work together. That's what this match was about. Solidifying that, yes, again, Ryan lost to her. And I know people can say, oh, here we go. Here we go. The match wasn't that great. And Mara just doesn't look very good in the ring, particularly when she was trying to do those moves. Look, Mara Sade is a light woman. There's no way. Yet she's got the muscles to prove that she busts her ass and get in great shape. But she's not a lighter woman. She can't swing around the candlesticks and the chairs like a full-grown man. And she's not a big woman either. She's not like Nia Jax. She's not like she's Lash Legend, her old partner in crime. She's a smaller, lighter woman. So she's going to look awkward in a ring, particularly when it comes to moving and throwing around any type of items. Did she do well in the ring? Yeah. Were the lollipops on the floor making any sense? No. It looked awkward. If they put some type of Lego on the floor, because let's make it clear, she is doing what Lita's doing. Lita was hardcore, and she, in her own way, is trying to build into a hardcore type of wrestler that, and this is me, she's not being Tessa Blanchard, where she's going to work with men and then try to go to a world championship. No. I truly believe that they're trying to build her up in a way that she looks tough enough that she can work with men. Because Lita used to work with the Hardys and work with men. She did. Not all the time in her career, but enough that she was working with the Hardys. And that's what I think they're going here with Mara Sade. She is a Lita archetype that can work with men, and they will do something with her. The question is when, not if. Last match. 8-man tag. The System versus the Hardys, as well as for Moose and a... Let me give it to you like this. The opening of the show, I'm going to go right now. When you see Moose come out talking about the system, that he made the system, and he's pissed off at what they did, but he's not going to cry like a bitch. He's just going to take them out. And he got the perfect blueprint to do it, which is Mike Santana. He got it. And that's what we got. Mike comes out and said, I got no problem working with you, and we will destroy them. And then you get the situation of this match, which was not a bad match. It's an 8-man tag. We get them all the time when they're willing to do it. But there was one major issue. When you looked at the match, and Alicia was there, and of course, if you remember, Alicia did talk with Moose saying that my contract's almost up. I don't know if I want to stay. And he said, look, if you stay, you can be by my side. You're my sister. I love you. You're my friend. You're my sister. I'll always have your back. If you want to be in my corner, you can be there. And she did make sure the system didn't get what they wanted. So that's all right. But part of me kind of still thinks maybe she might try to turn. But I don't think so. That's just me. But the thing here is Eddie Edwards. Eddie busted his nose. Now, I'm not sure where he broke his nose or busted his nose where it was bleeding. Either when Mike did his rolling buck 50, he decided to do a rolling buck 50 off of the second turn rope or the first turn rope, rolled back, grabbed him, and whacked him really hard into his shoulder, possibly hitting his collarbone where it could have broke his nose. That might be where it broke. Or when he did the splash and he was trying to pin him and everybody dogpiled on top of Mike and Eddie. I'm not sure who did it. Either Brian did it or maybe one of the Hardys in the back. I'm not sure which one nailed him in the face, but someone nailed him in the face, and for the rest of the match he was just bleeding profusely. It just began and then just started coming down. I think it was either the buck 50 that initially busted his nose or when dogpiled happened. I'm not sure which one. But the match was all right. And in the end, it was Bear Bronson who pinned Jeff Hardy. So that's going to be leading to a match. It's obvious. That's for the titles. It's going to happen. Let me give it to you like this. I know people are not going to care about Bear Bronson. Yes, he was trained by Brian Myers. I believe he was trained by Brian or Eddie. I think one of the two. Excuse me. Mucus buildup. I just went out today. Now mucus is back. I'm all right. I'm not sick. I actually checked with a doctor. If I'm all right, I'm perfectly fine. Just mucus. But let me give it to you like this. They really believe in Bear Bronson. They're giving him stuff to work with. And I know people are not going to really care much about Bear. They're not. They're not going to care about Bear Bronson. But we've been asking TNA to bring in more people to work in TNA. And I know people want to say, well, we want people that are good. Why are we going to want someone who's a nobody that's really not that great? I've always told you guys, it's not about how you were outside of the damn company. Whatever you did before, if you were good or not, doesn't mean a damn thing. What the company you're in is how they book you and how you work with that booking. It's still early with Bear. I'm not telling you he's going to work great, but see it in this respect. See how creative is going to book Bear and see how Bear is going to take that, because he's going to make it work. As much as they got to write good for him, they need to give him something and that he's got to run with it. That's the truth. Look at what's going on with the women's division in WWE. What have I talked about? Zarya. Zarya's worked with Sol Ruka for more than a year and a half. At least a year to a year and a half right now at this point. And she easily is the most developed of the three women of her, Julia, and Stephanie Vaquer. At least I can say with Zarya, I can buy the story of her and Sol. When it comes to Julia, why should I care? When it comes to Stephanie, why should I care? She's worked with Nikki Bella. Do I care about Nikki? No. And it's not because I hate her, it's because I haven't really booked much of her. So she's the only one I care about. And when it comes to Bear, again, I'm waiting to see how they're going to book him. In the system, will he get good booking, or is he just going to be a yes man? Now, let's get to the meat and potatoes that is left. Did I care about the segment of EY and BDC? Will he join the cleanse or not? Here's the problem for me. It wasn't that the talk was bad between the two. The beatdown, the three pile drivers, one to BDE, one to one security guard, and then another security guard, and then a pie face to one of the female refs. That wasn't a problem. That's Eric Young. But the thing here is, sorry, actually if you notice, this is 1080p. And unfortunately with this camera, 1080p only gives you 15 minutes. I thought I'd do an experiment just to see how it works. I'm not going to do it again. I'm going to go back to 720p because it does give me 30 minutes on this camera. But I want to make this very clear to you. It wasn't the problem of the segment itself. Seeing that Eric Young wanted BTE to join him and join the cleanse and not be part of the villains. The problem here was the crowd. What? Fuck, man. Look, there are times when the what chant works perfect. And there are times when the what chant is dumb. And this is one of those situations. Look, this was the beginning of their feud. And they didn't want to give Eric a chance at anything. They just wanted to what him in New Mexico, in Albuquerque. And I'm like, dude, no, not now. They started the minute he opened his damn mouth. It's not about when you chant all the time. It's about when you chant at the right time. Look, there are times when those segments need a what chant. Not because they wanted to be special, it's because it'll be damn funny. But here, they just started whatting him the moment he opened his mouth. And to be honest, I felt like it was not the right time for it. And it made the segment feel flat. Now, the moment that BTE was asked, are you joining me or not? And he said, I don't need you. I just need the fans. So hell nah. He gets clubbed in the side and gets pile drived. Is when it didn't matter anymore. It didn't matter about them. It was about the segment. And what happened? After he was pile drive, all the refs came out. Security came out. He was about to pile drive BT again. He pie faced a female ref, like I said. And that's when he had already the first security guard for the pile drive. And that was good. And then the second security guard on the ground, he pile drive it as he's threatening female fans. A cute female fan, in fact. Why am I an old man? Why am I an old man? Come on. Couldn't I meet pretty ladies like that? Well, no. I'm too shy. I mean, I can get in front of a camera. I can talk to someone singly, but I'm still a shy guy. Hi, I'm shy. But the point is, the segment was done well. Just what chants were just so overblown. It shouldn't have been done. Now, what did we get between the interaction of Santino Marella and Daria Ray? We get basically Daria telling Santino no, he's not suspended. That's Eric Young. He's going to have his match against BTE at No Surrender. And you cannot do this because I was sent an email and it's happening. And basically, she's bitching his ass out. It took me a moment to say it, but you have to say it. Daria is bitching his ass out. There's no way to ifs, ands, or buts about it. He can't do nothing, particularly after remember, we still have that moment where we're going to see Ariana Grace get a match against 100% the current champion, where, of course, you see Indy Hartwell and Zaya Brookside was trying to hype it up. But we're getting that match tomorrow. So, legitimately, at this moment in time, he gave his daughter a shot at a title that she didn't earn. And I still believe, and this is just my prediction, it could be 100% wrong, that if she won that title, which she shouldn't, but if she won the title, you're going to see Santino, he's going to be happy his daughter won, and then she's going to stab his ass in the back because she's going to say, I knew this would work. I used you to get what I want. My boyfriend and I used you. And that will give Daria Ray even more authority because they'll show with this that Santino cannot be trusted because he goes way too emotional, and instead of doing the right thing for the show, he does the wrong thing, which will build even more of a story between Daria Ray and Santino Marella, where sooner or later there's going to be some type of, how can I say this? There's going to be a power struggle, just like with Mr. Stone. But in this situation, the question's going to be, with this new power struggle where I don't think Daria Ray is going to be going up against Santino. Maybe. But I don't think it's going to be that. I think it's going to be someone in Santino's corner fighting someone in Daria Ray's corner. And whoever wins is going to be the one that's going to be leading Impact from now on. I could be wrong, but you guys tell me below. And I hope you enjoy this. And I hope you don't mind this video being at 1080p, 60 frames a second. This is just a test. I know my camera can do it, but do I want to have this format? Because it only gives me 15 minutes of 1080p. I'm probably going to stay with 720, but I thought I'd do it this time. Peace.